Everybody,
Hey.
welcome back. The Bad Pennies are back. I am Sho, and this is my friend Alan. Now we're going to talk about divorce.
Oh, God, you dropped that one like a bomb, didn't you?
Hey.
Holy moly.
It usually is a bomb, isn't it?
Well, it's a very difficult time in anyone's life.
Yeah.
Even at best.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It sucks.
It's never one person's fault.
No.
Ever. Regardless. I mean, sometimes the weight may fall a little bit on one side or the other,
right. but like with a marriage, you make the commitment to be in the marriage. Your goal is for it not to end.
Yeah, and you're both responsible. And
and then when it ends, it's messy. There was a pastor who gave an analogy one time, just real quick, and that was that marriage is like two pieces of paper being glued together.
Mm-hmm.
And then a divorce, you're trying to tear those pieces of paper apart. There's going to be holes and rips and tears.
Yeah, it's messy, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
So yes, marriage is definitely the process of two things coming together to be one, and that takes a lot of work and care and empathy and love and discipline and compromise. Mm-hmm. Big doses of compromise. Yeah. Big heavy doses of compromise. So we're not going to get into the dynamics of the male-female relationship, long-term relationship tonight, but we're definitely going to talk a little bit about divorce on a couple of levels. We'll do the divorce without children and divorce with children. Okay. So divorce without children. If it's not working, get out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. If it's not working.
You used a word before of magnanimous.
Okay, and don't get out angry, just get out.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get out angry and don't make it the other person's fault. It's your fault too. So you picked them, they picked you. You both have responsibility. It's the hardest part about that kind of divorce is taking responsibility for your mistake, not theirs. Your mistake, and it smarts a little bit to know that you made a mistake, that you picked someone that you weren't compatible with, or maybe you even weren't ready to be able to be who you needed to be a good partner in the marriage.
You have to take responsibility for the decisions that you made and the actions.
You take responsibility for everything. Yeah. Everything. She does. You do. And then you end it in a magnanimous way. And since we bring this word up on a number of different subjects, we're just going to go to it real quick because I know that when I'm working with some of the classes and things that I teach in the big Zoom calls that we do, everybody goes, I say magnanimous, and everybody goes, huh? All right, so everyone's heard it, but they just don't understand what it means. So in essence, magnanimous is generous and forgiving. Generous and forgiving. The second definition is king-like or great in disposition or context. Being king-like, so think of yourself as being generous and forgiving king, and that's magnanimous. So when the relationship ends, even in divorce, as adults, make sure that you have done everything you could to leave, if it's between you and a woman, but this will cover gay divorce as well. All right, you want to leave them better than you found them. All right, so don't be. It's easy to be pissed off that things didn't work out, but what good is that? Well, I mean, what value is there in that? It's much better to take a look at the mistakes that were made and what are the lessons that you can learn from them, and be thankful that this person walked through that, mess with you, and is also getting lessons that they will take into their life. But
wish her the best or him the best, and move on.
Right, and again, generous and forgiving.
Yeah. So now divorce
And mostly
with children?
forgiving yourself, by the way, because the big hurt really is your own mistake, not theirs.
Okay. Now, with children, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. With children, I'm of a long lineage of teachers that I've had in my life who are pretty adamant about divorce with children not really being acceptable unless it is
A danger to the kids?
Yeah, unless it's to protect the children from danger, from a real imminent threat. And that means someone who's violent, out of control,
abusive, addicted
incredibly
to
abusive, addicted to drugs or
health.
alcohol, serious mental health problems, things like that.
So in that case, that's when
you got to protect them, no matter what. See,
it doesn't matter if it's the mother or the father.
Does not matter.
Whoever's going to protect the children.
The children have to be protected.
Okay.
And that's number one, and that's always number one, and will always be number one, is that the children must be protected.
Okay.
So, so there's that. But in all other situations where the children are not in danger, here's the bad news. The bad news is that divorce is more destructive to children psychologically than staying together in a bad marriage. In fact, it's so destructive that it's psychologically that it's lifelong. And
wait a minute. Did you just? I'm summarizing. Did you just say it's better to stay in the marriage for the sake of the kids?
The research has pointed out that even if you stayed together in a bad marriage, it was healthier psychologically for children than to separate.
So you stay together for the kids.
So you stay together, but here's the thing. We're not promoting staying together having a bad marriage. We're promoting staying together and making the marriage work.
Okay.
And that's what you have to do. That's what you're compelled to do for the sake of the children.
Yes, but this episode is about divorce.
And so divorce becomes not an option unless, again, you can't. Okay, kids. So we're gonna, but just say, just take that in. All right, from that standpoint, because we're gonna get to the divorce part here.
Okay.
All right. So, but I can't get into that conversation without mentioning the fact that it's not acceptable when you have children. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Okay.
So when it does
that's
happen,
what we're going to address.
Yeah, when it does happen.
When it does happen, how to be. All right. So we'll just do the male-female thing since we're talking to men, right? We'll do the male-female.
Yeah.
So she has decided she doesn't want you anymore.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Now,
or he decided, whatever the reason, there is a divorce.
There's a divorce. No, if you're a man, you don't decide. You stay in the marriage no matter what.
Okay.
All right. You stay in the marriage when you have children and you make it work. And whatever you need to change about yourself, whatever you need to get control of, whatever you got to do, you do it and you make it a really good marriage, because the best way to be a good father is to have a good relationship with the children's mother. That is the best way. And even if you end up divorced, the best way to be a good father is to still have a good relationship with the children's mother. Okay. The adversarial relationship does not work, and it damages the children greatly, psychologically, emotionally. Yeah. So it scars them for life. And even though, sure, we heal and there's therapy and there's all kinds of things, why would you put your children through that? Okay. You know what? I mean, if you can avoid that happening, remember that what we said earlier, always protect the children. Always do what's best for the children, no matter what. Okay. And what's best for the children is two healthy parents getting along and having a good marriage, showing them what a good marriage looks like.
But in a divorce, it's still showing them that these two people work together to raise the children.
It's better to work together than to be adversaries.
Yeah, that whole co-parenting thing that goes around nowadays.
Right. Yeah, and it's real popular, but it's not really that good for the children.
It's better to stay married.
It's better, and unfortunately it's happening because people think that it's better for me. It makes me feel better.
Selfishness.
Right? Yeah, and it's selfish because when you have children, you can't be selfish anymore. You have to stop being selfish. You can't be a good parent and be selfish. Parenting is a selfless act.
Mm-hmm.
It's a selfless act, and you cannot. And selfless acts are about can't have any desire for return. By definition. And if you're wanting something to fulfill you, then just be a better parent. Because that from all the interviews and the work we've done and the research, and literally with thousands and tens and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, there's probably very little on the planet that's more fulfilling than being a good parent. And watching your children grow up and being good kids and becoming good adults, and having good lives. And that's ultimately what you want as a parent, is that your children grow up healthy, emotionally stable, psychologically stable, and chasing their dreams and being successful.
But even in a divorce happens.
It happens.
The kids are there,
and you cannot fight.
You can't wallow in your self-pity. You have to move forward. You have to still be the greatest example of who, or what life is supposed to look like in your children's eyes.
And the same way as you were in the marriage, you have to be, as a man, you have to remain unemotional. And I say this because I've been working with a number of men lately, actually, really lately, that struggle because, she decided she didn't want to be married to him anymore. And I say she, this is a whole bunch of she's, by the way, a whole bunch of he's and a whole bunch of she's, all with children at home. And so she's taken the kids or kicked him out or whatever, all the different scenarios, but ultimately she's got the kids over here and he's over here, and they're all trying to figure shit out. And when she does stuff he doesn't like, he gets all emotional. And he thinks that it's a personal attack. And you just can't do that. You can't allow yourself to go there, because regardless of even if that's her intent, it doesn't matter, because it's terrible for the children. It's terrible for you, but it's worse for the children, because the attitude, if you think that you can disguise it from your children, that you're just livid and pissed off and angry at your ex and the divorce.
Should a man see a divorce as a failure / lesson moving forward?
Well, you have to look at all the things that you failed doing that led to the divorce,
and learn
get
from
the
it,
lessons,
grow from it,
and grow from it.
Yeah,
and be a better man. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we could say here, but it would just take too long. Make sure that you are magnanimous, even in a divorce. Forgiving and generous.
Okay.
And again, conduct yourself in the same way you would if you were still married with the children, which is she's still the mother. And so don't let the kids play the two of you against each other. And in fact, I had a man many years ago who was, his daughter was getting to the age, she was a teenager, and she and the mother were starting to have the typical mother-daughter, teenage wars that go on between mothers and daughters during that age. And the daughter was starting to use, the father as, between them. And he was coming to me and calling me going, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, find out what your wife wants.
Yeah, talk to her.
Call her and find out what her decision was. I mean, they were still married, but I mean, it was like sometimes it's good for you to just get out of the way, right? Even if you're still married, it's just like get out of the way of the mother doing her job, and trust that she's going to do her job, because that trust, you still have to trust even after divorce with children. You still have to trust her, and if you got hurt, get over it. Get over it, because that hurt will cause you to react in a way where you won't trust her or don't want to trust her because you're hurt, and you just get over it. Get over it. It's just part of being an adult, right?
Yeah. So as far as being unemotional goes, he did mention men need to be unemotional. I want to make sure that we clarify that it doesn't mean you don't have emotions.
What?
It means you have your emotions when you're supposed to have your emotions.
Yeah, which is like very rarely, and only with men around. So.
Right, and then you handle the situation logically,
right, and rationally, and appropriately, and
so
looking at the big picture.
That's what being unemotional means.
That's what it means. It means that you can't let your emotions come into your decision-making process.
Exactly. There's a time and a place for that.
Exactly, but not in a marriage or divorce parenting situation. So let her be the mother. And if the daughter comes or son and wants to play you against the mother, you just say, what does your mother say?
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll get all upset. Believe me, they'll go like, well, how come? Well, mom won't let me do this, and they're going to try to get you to say yes. And if the mother says no, then it's no, and you got to find out. And don't make decisions.
We said that before, like 2 yeses is a yes and 1 no is a no, right?
Well,
that's 2 yeses is a yes, 1 yes is a no.
Well, that's the dynamic. Okay, so the way that works is the dynamics, the mathematics of relationship. It takes 2 yeses.
Yeah.
All right. To have a relationship with someone, it takes 2 yeses.
No, but also in this whole thing about children trying to play parents against each other, the rule has to be 2 yeses is a yes, 1 yes is a no.
Well, that's too complicated. I think that's too complicated. I think that
to me, that's how you don't play your kids against each other.
Well, how you don't play your kids against each other is you find out what the mother says, and that's the direction you go.
Okay, there we go.
Don't worry about yeses and nos and all that kind of stuff. If the mother says yes, it's yes. If the mother says no, it's no. And the thing is that if you don't agree with her, maybe you can take it offline and discuss it. But again, you don't discuss it in terms of I'm right and you're wrong.
Okay.
All right? Because ultimately, you got to listen to the mother because she's the mother, and you got to let mothers do what mothers do. And that's what fathers do is provide a safe environment for the children to grow up in. Okay. Mothers provide childhood.
Nurture.
They provide the childhood for the children, and they're really good at it. So stay out of their way. Don't get involved with mothering because you're not a mother. You're a father.
Well, but that advice right there might save some people from divorce.
It might actually. If you stayed out of her way in the first place, she wouldn't have wanted to, leave your ass, right, and take the kids away because you're meddling.
Yeah.
Don't meddle in parenting.
Yeah. We got to wrap this one up, man. Give me some final thoughts on divorce. Please.
Final thoughts on divorce with children. Avoid it at all costs and make sure the relationship stays good. Even if you don't want to, it doesn't matter what you want because it's now a selfless endeavor. Even your marriage is a selfless endeavor at that point. In the event that it does happen, you must conduct yourself to always take the high road. Always take the high road. Always be rational and unemotional. Don't take anything that happens personally, and be magnanimous. Be magnanimous, and again, let the mother do her job.
Boom.
Don't meddle with that, and make sure that you stay on the same page.
Yeah. You know what? I am a believer in gender roles. And
clearly we both are. And I'm sure there are people out there that want to, say something about us about gender roles, but look, it's not. And I'll just say one thing about gender roles is that gender roles, when we talk about them, we're not talking about them about pegging people and boxing you into a particular thing. We're talking about doing things that work. And gender roles have worked for human beings for 100,000, 200,000 years.
But let's address that further on the next episode.
We'll do a whole podcast on gender roles but at the same time, we're not talking about forcing people who may not fit the traditional gender role, because you can take the jobs and divide them up any way you want. You want.
But the mother is the mother and the father is the father.
Unless the role gets switched. There have been cultures in the world where the roles that we think are traditionally male, the female takes on, and the things that we think are traditionally female, the male takes on.
But I'm not
it doesn't
talking about
matter who takes on what. What matters is that the job gets done.
Yeah, but okay, another episode.
Yes, and we'll do a whole thing on this.
Stay tuned.
We set ourselves up. We keep setting ourselves up for great podcasts.
So so now you have to tune in, and next time we will
find out what
different.
the real truth is about gender roles.
Yeah.
And how to deal with it without worrying about being politically correct.
So we're ending this podcast about marriage. I mean, divorce.
Divorce.
To say, if you have to do it.
Do it
clean,
with grace.
Do it with integrity.
And grace.
Yeah, and grace.
Do it with grace.
Take care of the kids.
Yeah, and always take care of the kids.
All right. Till next time, everybody. Bad Pennies will be back.
See ya.